We just heard US President Joe Biden address the UN General Assembly. This was his second speech at the UN. In one word, it was combative. He began his speech by condemning Russia's war on Ukraine. He said one man, Vladimir Putin, was responsible for this war, adding that Putin was intent on wiping out Ukraine off the map. Listen in.
In the last year, our world has experienced great upheaval. A growing crisis in food insecurity, record heat, floods and droughts, COVID-19, inflation, and a brutal, needless war. A war chosen by one man, to be very blunt. Let us speak plainly. A permanent member of the United Nations Security Council invaded its neighbor, attempted to erase a sovereign state from the map. Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter. No more important than the clear prohibition against countries taking the territory of their neighbor by force.
The US President also emphasized on the UN Charter, which was signed after the Second World War. The Charter guarantees principles like sovereignty and territorial integrity. Biden said that the US will continue to support and stand by Ukraine. He also called for a just end to the war based on Ukraine's demands. President Biden further rebutted claims made by Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. He said that no country had threatened Russia's security and that this war was in fact an act of unprovoked aggression. He called on all members of the United Nations to hold Russia accountable. Biden spent most of his time speaking about the war in Ukraine, but then he also touched upon the issue of United Nations reform. Biden asked permanent members of the Security Council to use the veto power more sparingly. He also supported its expansion to include more permanent and non-permanent members, including from Africa. Listen in.
I also believe the time has come for this institution to become more inclusive so that it can better respond to the needs of today's world. Members of the UN Security Council, including the United States, should consistently uphold and defend the UN Charter and refrain from the use of the veto, except in rare, extraordinary situations, to ensure that the Council remains credible and effective. That is also why the United States supports increasing the number of both permanent and non-permanent representatives of the Council. This includes permanent seats for those nations we have long supported and permanent seats for countries in Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean. The United States is committed to this vital work.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.